Today is my last day of my 4 or 5 days up in Westeros, staying in Gaerloch, and much to my amazement I've actually managed to snatch 2 hill walking days, one at Beinn Alligin and one at Beinn Alligin. Both of them were good snowy walks with views, which I was amazed at really, because the forecast for this week before I came away was atrocious, with gales and thunder and hail and snow and blizzards. I really didn't expect to get any hill walks done at all. But the one thing you can always be sure of, if you book a week somewhere and you have foul weather, the last day, the day you leave, is always the best day, and this week is no different. As you can see, it's saved the best till last. Now I should be driving 4 hours back to Fife now, but how can you pass up conditions like this? So I couldn't resist heading up Beinn Alligin, which is this big sprawling hill up here. It's been a long time since I've been up this hill. I've only been up it once, and in fact it was the first hill I ever climbed in Scotland. It was certainly the first Munro I ever did. I always thought it not a bad choice for a first one. Something suitably stupendous. Had an amazing day for it. It was September. It was like today, blue skies, views out over to Skye. You could see for miles and miles and miles. And this it. If I wasn't hooked before then, from all the hill walking I was doing in Wales, I was certainly hooked after that. Seeing Scotland at its very best really spurred me on just to get out there and enjoy every weekend after that. Into the sunlight. And it instantly feels so much warmer. It is cold. It's only about 0 degrees, 1 degree. There's a lot of ice everywhere. Ooh. It's so still. The last couple of videos I've done, I was battling to have, well, I was trying to speak over wind, and I had to ditch a lot of footage because I couldn't hear what I was saying. But today, look at that blue sky. And it's also a joy when you get into sort of mid to late autumn in this part of the world. We've had a few frosts now and there's no biting insects flying around. I dare say there's a few of them still around, but I can stand here now and there's nothing. No, I can't see anything. Can't hear anything buzzing. There's nothing screaming in my ear wanting to bite inside there either, so it's all good. Well, this is the start of the climb, which takes you up to the Horns of Alligin, which are 3 pinnacles you have to get over, which I don't recall them being remotely precipitous or difficult when I was here in summer conditions, but it might be a bit different under winter, so if it looks a bit gnarly I won't go through because I'm by myself and I don't want to do anything silly. God, it's such a change this week to actually feel warm, sweating, I'm hot. I feel like I've got too many layers on. It's funny, all this week I've been battling against the cold. It's been so cold and the wind. Complete reversal of fortunes in the weather. It's a wonderful path, unlikely as it seems, working its way through these terraces. The hills around here tend to be spared the worst of the erosion that the more grassy hills further south suffer. Some of the scars at some of our hills within reach of the central belt, I suppose. Thinking of Benvironment and hills like that near Bridge of Orchy. Huge scars up their sides because they easily erode. But these ones, because they're so hard and rocky, there's not much erosion really, and it's quite handy having rock to walk on while it's dry. The sun's drying out and it's very grippy. It's wonderfully grippy, this sandstone. But you can imagine in icy conditions it would be a whole different prospect altogether. But then, this being National Trust for Scotland land, as I've said elsewhere, they have work parties and they do spend a lot of money maintaining all these paths. So they're not like this just by virtue of the landscape. They are, a lot of hard work goes into them. And you'll sometimes find in some of the car parks where they don't charge you, it's not compulsory to pay for parking, you find donation boxes. And I'll just ask if you mind giving a donation to help the upkeep of the paths. And there was one at a car park 2 days ago when I went up Beinn, so I put a £5 in the box, because it's still too easy for people to drive large distances to hills. They buy their petrol at home, they have their lunch at home, they don't necessarily buy anything where they're going. You're just sort of, you're taking but you're not giving. So it's good if you do see these boxes just to try and give some money for the upkeep of the places that you hold so dear. But even if you can't give money for car parking or the upkeep of paths, it's always worth stopping in whatever local shop you might come across, just buying a drink or a sandwich or something, just trying to spend money in the places that you're going to visit. Otherwise the money never gets moved around, it all just gets spent in Fife, where I'm supplying, or I'm stocking up my provisions and my petrol, and the communities that you're visiting don't get anything from the deal. You just get their paths walked and eroded. And yeah, it's nice to give something back if you can, so do make the effort. Can't believe I was even considering driving home first thing this morning and missing out on all this. What was I thinking? So still. Doesn't get much better than this, has to be said. Start of the fun. What about that? Oh my goodness me. And that's the proper top of Beinn Alligin. Wow. Oh, coat on, I've got my gloves ready, my hat ready, because it's quite a chill in that wind now, but I've just come behind these rocks and there's no wind, the sun's out and it's warm, so I'm just stopping for a sandwich, taking the view for a little bit before I head up onto the Horns. It just goes on forever. You can see there's drops dropping away on both sides. It's quite a perch. Well, I couldn't film it because I needed my hands. That's the first horn negotiated. God, it looks worse from this side. It wasn't too bad, it's easier going up. Anyway, time for a second one. slow going, picking your way through all these jumble of terraces, but slowly getting there. This is the last one. It is a proper alpine experience. It's going slow though. I'm having to put crampons on and take them off. I'm putting them on for when I'm just going down small rocky chutes. This gives you a bit of extra grip. But then for coming up again, the spikes are actually a hindrance, so you have to take them off. Done. Now it's just a question of going down there and then going all the way up to the summit and round. Hopefully plain sailing. God, what a view! It took about half an hour to get down that. So I had to slowly work my way down, pick my way down. It was quite one of the most challenging things I've probably done actually, I think. Relentless. Almost there though. That's the summit. Just there. Well, somebody has been up here today. They only went as far as there. Oh, I feel like I've been through a wall coming over this. So this is the route I came up over the first horn, the second one, and the third one. So what can we see? All the way on the horizon out there I can see the Western Isles, but it's quite hazy. Over here on the horizon is the sky stretching all the way over here, because I can see the Torridon over there just. The Applecross Peninsula here. And beyond that, just wave after wave of mountains. Just stupendous. I'm not done yet. I have a way to go. I've still got to come around all the way here and back to the car. And then it's back to flat Fife. Got to enjoy it when you get it and make the best of it. Get blue sky, go up a hill. Goodness gracious. That's quite incredible. Wow. All I can hear is just lots of stuff falling off. There's snow falling off everywhere down here. Yeah, you can see how when it's not really cold, and especially in November and then spring when it's still, the sun's still quite warm, as soon as it gets working on these cliffs and things, there's snow falling away, and that's when cornices start collapsing. And so they're very dangerous. Climbing up chutes like this in this sort of weather is not a good idea. Nearly there. Last few steps. Oh, God, well, it's certainly worth it. Well, that's looking back to the summit of Beinn Alligin that was up there. You can see the tiny little cairn on the top. And then when I came down there, the cleft that I was looking down was there. And it's essentially this big thing I was looking down. You can see how big it is. It just extends the whole height of the hill. Quite an impressive feature. That's where I had the difficulty, and I nearly turned back there actually. Yeah, and then carried on all the way up there and down and around to here. Well, it's a long way down, but at least it's all down now. Just seems there's been no end of up today. And scrambling, lots of scrambling, and hauling, and lowering. I see some people here, it's half tempted to do what these people have done. They've gone down on their arses. Certainly a quick way of getting down. One of the many wonderful things about winter is when the snow's down, you can just trot down a hill in a way that you wouldn't be able to if the snow wasn't here, if it was just rock or grass. There's too much of an impact on your feet and your knees to go at any speed, but when it's like this and it's actually got some depth to it, you can go quite quickly, and it's not nearly as tiring on your legs. It just makes for a wonderful descent. What's not to love about winter? I'm sure it's looked like there's been a lot of snow on this walk today, but really it's still quite just a superficial covering, just a cosmetic covering really. It's nothing that a sharp rise in temperature and some rain to summit level wouldn't get rid of quite quickly. So this isn't necessarily winter having arrived. It could just as quickly disappear and then not come back for weeks, which it has done in some years. It's been like that. So hopefully it will stay and it will slowly build, but you never can tell. Oh, it's a shovel. That's a bit of a odd find out here in the middle of nowhere. You can see I'm following footprints here, and I have been for about half of the day following footprints, but I haven't actually seen anybody apart from at the car park this morning. It's always amazes me that it can be as quiet as it is on a perfect weather day with snow. And it's Sunday, it's a weekend, it's a Sunday. If this was one of the hills down in the south down near down near Beinn Alligin or Tyndrum, those sorts of things, or Beinn Alligin, it would be mobbed. But because we're nowhere near the central belt here, and there's nowhere near any large population centre, I suppose Inverness is the closest, they're just not busy, even on the perfect weather days. It's so quiet up here. It's wonderful. Oh look, there's another one. I don't know what that's all about. Oh, it's looking back up into the quarry, where I've come down here, and that's looking over back to Beinn Alligin, and there's the cleft, and that's the horns, 1, 2, 3, and that was the way up. I really wish I was going back to a cottage in Gairloch, which is just 30 miles away, rather than driving 200 after a long, knackering walk, but what can you do? I know I keep saying it, but really, it's okay, it's a worthy sacrifice. I'm going to remember this walk for quite a long time, I think. And it's been handy in that it's sort of pushed me up against, you know, the wall that I set for myself, the sort of the kind of terrain that I wouldn't go walking over under certain conditions. It was getting close to that today, but it's nice to come up against that every now and then and find yourself making decisions in your head, thinking, should I, shouldn't I go on? I nearly did turn back actually, but in my opinion I didn't do anything silly, put myself in any unnecessary danger, but it can get to that point quite easily. You can climb down into a section and down one of those terraces in the snow and suddenly find yourself that you can't get back up again, and then you're stuck. So always err on the side of caution. Well, that's me 7 hours later, back at the car. Oh, job well done. Time for some cake, some chocolate, some tea, little sit down, and then let's drive 200 miles back to Fife.